Father, I stretch my hands to thee. No, no, there's no other hand. I know if thou withdraw thyself from me, oh well, there shall I go. Amen. In the book of Genesis, chapter 32, I'm reading verses 24 through 32. Genesis chapter 32 and verses 24 through 32. Amen. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, Wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of that place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh, unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank. Amen. I want to use for a subject, struggling for your breakthrough.
All right. Amen.
Struggling for your breakthrough. Thank you, ushers. Struggling for your breakthrough. This is a chapter in the life of one of the patriarchs in the person of Jacob. Jacob, my brothers and sisters, is the twin brother of Esau. He is the son of Isaac and Rebekah. He is the grandson of Abraham and Sarah. We see, my brothers and sisters, that Jacob is now headed back to his home, where he come from. It's been approximately 20 years that he has been away from home. And based on God's command, he's headed back to his home. The scripture tells us that Jacob has certainly had some experiences with God. In this 32nd chapter, we see yet another experience that he is privileged to have with the Lord. The first time he experienced God was at a place called Bethel. But this time he experiences God at a brook called Jabbok. When he left home and experienced God in Bethel, he saw a ladder. But at the Jabbok brook, he was able to see the Lord. The Lord has commanded him to return to the land of his fathers and of his kindred, and God promised that he would be with him. But this return of Jacob would be a struggle. It was a struggle because 20 years ago, he left home on bad terms with his brother Esau. You remember in the 27th chapter of Genesis, it was Jacob who pretended to be Esau and tricked his blind father Isaac into giving him the blessing. It was Isaac's intention to give the blessing to Esau. But Rebekah got involved and she said, no, Esau is not supposed to get the blessing because God promised me when I was carrying you all in my womb that he would bless the younger to rule over the older. And so, being coached by Rebekah, Jacob tricked Isaac into giving him the blessing, and consequently Esau was angry. And Esau said, when dad is dead, I'm going to kill Jacob. And so Rebekah told Jacob, you're going to have to leave home. And so Jacob left, and he's been gone for 20 years. And now God comes to Jacob, and he tells him it's time to go back home. I got to thinking about it. You know, this was a relationship between two brothers that had gone bad. 20 years had expired, and if it had not been for God, Jacob probably never would have went back home. It was God who initiated Jacob's return so that Jacob could go back and reconcile with his brother. And so here he goes now, and he's on his way back, and he's received word that Esau's coming, and he got 400 armed men with him. Jacob became afraid because of something that happened in the past. And you know, the past have a way of catching up with you. Some things that happened in the past sometimes has a way of tracking us down. Some folk we fell out with in the past, God has a way of stirring us up to see the need to reconcile and make peace. Here were two brothers who had fallen out, and God wanted Jacob to go back and reconcile with his brother Esau. Record says that Jacob was on his way, and when he heard that Esau was coming, he got scared. Now, there were some things Jacob had going for him as to why he should not have been afraid. First of all, he had God's promise. God promised him, if you go back, I will be with you. And listen, when God is with you, everything gonna be all right. But not only did he have God's promise, but he also had God's presence. In the beginning of this 32nd chapter, the verse said that the angels of God met Jacob. It's just like God to show up when you need him most. This man had a struggle going on, and the Lord showed up to help him. And then in this 32nd chapter, the Bible tells us that Jacob decided that he would pray to God. called on the Lord and he said, now, Lord, I'm going back like you told me. You know, when I left home, I didn't have nothing, but I'm going back with all of these things that you've given me. And he said, Lord, I'm not worthy of the least of your mercies. And here I am going back to face Esau, my brother, and Lord, I'm scared of him. He prayed, said, I'm scared of Esau. I'm scared of what he might do to me. And I need you to help me. Jacob has a struggle on his hands. And listen, when you look at his life, time and time again, Jacob has had a struggle. When it came to the birthright, there was a struggle. When he wanted the blessing, instead of his daddy giving it to Esau, he had to struggle to get the blessing. When he was living with Mr. Laban, he had to struggle dealing with old lying Laban. Are y'all listening to me? This man has had struggle all along, and now he's struggling again. Now you might be wondering, preacher, why are you telling us about Jacob struggling? I want you to see here that even though he struggled, God blessed him with a breakthrough. Are y'all listening to me? And you know, just like Jacob, we all have our struggles. Every one of us in here, we all have struggled, do struggle, and will struggle with something. None of us are exempt from struggling. Out of all that Jacob had, he had much livestock, but yet he still had struggles in his life. Church, believe me when I tell you, life is a struggle. You can't help but have to struggle concerning something. It's a struggle to raise children. Am I right about it? If you're going to raise your kids, it's not easy. It's a struggle. Listen, you know, you don't have to have 6 or 7 to struggle raising children. It's a struggle raising one. I wish y'all were praying with me. It's a struggle to raise children. It's a struggle sometime on the job. Some of you in here listening to me right now, you are having a struggle where you're employed. If it's not the supervisor, sometimes it's co-workers that you struggle with. Then there are health struggles. We struggle with our health. Man, trying to handle these health issues that we struggle with. And there are financial struggles. Am I right about it? Seem like sometimes you got more month than you do money. It's a struggle. We struggle in relationships. Some parents and their children struggle to get along. Marriage is a sweet thing, but it can be a struggle. Sometimes you got to struggle to find the right somebody. You got to struggle to get ready for the wedding. You got to struggle after you said I do. And then in some cases you got to struggle to get out of it. I'm trying to get you to see here that life is a struggle. Am I right about it? In our churches, it's a struggle. It's a struggle leading people. You ain't got to have 200 and 300 to have a struggle. If you got 5, you still got a struggle in your head. Because out of the 5, sometimes 2 or 3 just ain't gonna do right. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. It's a struggle when you got members against members. And especially when you're a new pastor. They try to corner you off and talk about the others. Tell you they ain't no good, you know, all this kind of stuff. And then the others corner you off and say, I know they're probably talking about me, but let me tell you what they did. Y'all ain't praying with me. It's a struggle. And a wise preacher, no, don't you get in that fight. You tell them both, we better love one another and get along with each other. That's what the Bible says. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. We struggle with our faults and failures. It's a struggle. Something you thought you were through with. Come to find out it ain't all gone. It's a struggle. Are y'all praying with me? Yeah, we struggle. Paul talked about it. Paul said, look here, he said, when I would do good, evil is present with me. He said, I got a struggle going on. The things I'm supposed to do, I don't do it. And the things I'm not supposed to do, that's what I end up doing. He said, I got a struggle. Are y'all praying with me? And as quiet as you might want to keep it, I know you're struggling. As a Christian, as a child of God, we got a struggle. The old me struggles against the new me. Are y'all praying with me? You know, it's a struggle to keep the old you from coming up. The new you said pray for him. The old you said cuss him out. Y'all looking at me like you don't know what I'm talking about. We got a struggle on our hands. As much as we come to prayer meeting and Bible study, we struggle. See, that's why coming to prayer meeting and Bible study help give us something so that we can handle the struggle. And just like Jacob, church, we need a breakthrough. And this text lets me know that breakthroughs are available regardless of our struggles. And so here he is now. He's got to go and meet his brother Esau. And Esau is coming with 400 armed men. That's almost like 401 problems. Each man represents a problem. Are y'all listening to me? You thought you had trouble. You ever had 401 coming at you? This man's got an issue on his hand, and so he needs a breakthrough. Well, the question comes, how will he get it? He had to struggle. He had to struggle before he got it. Are y'all listening to me? He had to tussle. He had to strain. And listen, anything what happened, sometimes you got to struggle for it. He had to struggle. And so the text said that Jacob was left alone. He had already sent some livestock over to try to appease and pacify Esau, but somebody, he soon found out, listen, somebody needs to know some things you can't buy. You can give all the gifts you want to some folk, they still stay mad. Some of them eat up your groceries and still be mad at you. Am I right about it? They spend your money and still hold it against you. So he needed some help. He needed some help. So the record said that he would get it, because the text said he was left alone. And here we see Jacob contending. The text said when he was left alone, there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. He was wrestling. He was wrestling with a man. Now this is what he thought. At first, he thought he was only wrestling with just another man. But he will soon discover that he's struggling with God. Are y'all praying with me? Yeah, look at him. He's struggling. He's wrestling. And it happened when he was alone. And you know, sometimes God got to put you in an alone situation so that he can get his hands on you. Am I right about it? Sometimes God got to put you where you can be alone so that you can depend on other folk. So many times we always looking to other folk to bail us out of trouble. But sometimes God will put you in a situation where you are all alone so that you can look to him. There he was. He wrestled with the man. Yes, here we see him struggling. He's struggling because of a past mess up. Something that happened in the past. He's wrestling with a man he thought, but he will soon find out he's wrestling with God. And listen, sometimes we're wrestling with God and don't realize it. Sometimes we're struggling with doing what he said. Sometimes we struggle when it comes to his will. Yes, when we know we're supposed to do his will, and yet we want to do our will. Yes, we're wrestling with God. So he struggled, he wrestled with God. Oh, my brothers and sisters, we see Jacob contending, but then I see him crippled. Because the text said that as he wrestled, that the man that he was wrestling with touched his thigh and knocked his hip out of joint. That's when Jacob discovered that he was not wrestling with an ordinary man. Yeah, look, God didn't get no pipe, he didn't get no 2x4 and hit him, he just touched him. Are y'all listening to me? There's power in the Lord's touch. Yes, the Lord can touch you and change your situation. God can touch you and he can give you deliverance, or he can touch you and leave you damaged. Yes, the Lord just touched him and knocked his hip out of joint. And all Jacob could do then was just hold on. Are y'all listening to me? And I believe this lets me know that in order to get your breakthrough, you got to spend some time with God. And then you got to learn how to hold on even when you're hurting. Yes, it pained Jacob for his hip to be knocked out of socket. But in spite of the pain, he's still holding on. There might be somebody here, you might be hurt. Your feelings have been hurt. Your heart has been broken. But if you want a breakthrough, I want to encourage you to hold on to the Lord. You got to hold on even when you're hurt. Am I right about it? Yes, while you're in pain, while tears in your eyes, get a hold of God and hold on. Look at him clinging. He's holding on to the Lord. There's nothing else he could do. Yes, all he could do now was just hold on. And you know, God sometimes will disable you so that you'll see the need to surrender to him. Am I right about it? Look at him. Jacob is just now clinging. He's holding on. But then the next thing I see, if you want your breakthrough from the Lord, from your struggle, then you got to be willing to confess. He had to confess. Listen to what the Lord said to him. He said, "What is your name?" And Jacob responded by saying, "My name is Jacob." Now, the last time somebody asked Jacob his name, Jacob answered by saying, "My name is Esau." But now God has got him right where he wants him. And Jacob now has to come clean. You see, Jacob's name meant deceiver. It meant trickster. It meant liar. Am I right about it? So when the Lord said, what is your name? He said, my name is trickster. He came clean. And that's what God wants for us. If you want to make it through your struggles, if you want to get your breakthrough from God, you must be willing to come clean with the Lord. You got to be honest with God. Lord, I'm a drunkard. Lord, I'm a thief. Lord, I'm a cusser. Lord, I'm an adulterer. You got to be honest with God. You got to come clean with God. Notice Jacob didn't mention anything about anybody else. He only confessed himself. And I stopped by to tell you, you can't get a breakthrough from God talking about other folks' shortcomings. You can't get a breakthrough from God talking about other folks' sin. You got enough sin of your own, and you ought to come clean with God about where you are. He said, my name is Jacob. Yeah, the Lord got him right where he wants him. And then the Lord said, well, from now on, your name will not be Jacob, but your name will be Israel. Because as a prince, you have prevailed with God and men, and you have power. Isn't that something? You know, I need to tell somebody, if you are a child of God, that no matter what your struggles are, there's a prince inside of you. Am I right about it? He said, yes, your name will now be called Israel. Then we see Jacob was curious. Jacob said, well, what is your name? Have I got a witness? And the Lord had something to say to him. The Lord said, why are you asking me my name? Have I got a witness? Well, as I close here, lest I hold you too long, yes, notice here that the Lord brought some changes in Jacob's life. First of all, he changed his name. And oh, my brothers and sisters, when you've been born again, you got to know that you got a new name over in glory. Have I got a witness? Not only did the Lord change his name, but the Lord changed his walk. Because the Bible said he now walks with a limp. And I stopped by to tell you, when you've been with God, somebody can tell the difference. Somebody can see the change in you when you've been with God. Am I right about it? Well, as I close, remember, he said, Lord, he said, sir, what is your name? And the Lord said, why are you asking me my name? He said that to let him know you ought to know who I am. Yeah, you know no ordinary man can just touch you and knock your hip out of joint. Yeah, you ought to know who I am, because you asked me to give you a blessing. Yeah, you told me you won't let me go until I bless you. Have I got a witness? He said, you ought to know who I am. Yeah, and another thing I need to tell you, Jacob, you asking who I am. Look at it, the day is trying to break, and the truth is, I can't take the time to give you all my names. Yeah, it'll take me a long time to tell you everything about who I am. Yeah, it'll take me all day day and all night, and the next day and the next night, and all the other days to explain to you my name. Yeah, the day is breaking. I don't have time to tell you. I'm Job's horse, pawing in the valley. I'm easy to squeal in the middle of a wheel. Yeah, I'm Daniel Stone, hewed out of the mountain. I'm Joshua's battle axe. I don't have time to tell you. I'm Moses' bush that won't stop burning. Yeah, I'm Mary's baby child. Yeah, I'm the first and the last, the beginning and the end. My name is Jesus. Anybody here know him? Anybody know he's able to give you what you need to get through your struggle? Ain't God alright? I'm through when I tell you. Struggles, but I have somebody who is able to help me with my struggles, and his name is Jesus. Anybody here today know he's able to help you with the struggles? He's able to give you the strength you need. He's able to make your enemy leave you alone. He's able to heal you of your sickness. He's able to save your soul from death. Won't he do it? Ain't God alright? Well, I need to ask you one more question. Is there anybody here got some testimonies about how God brought you through your struggle? Is there anybody here don't mind being a witness to go out and tell somebody what Jesus has done for you? Tell somebody that he made a way. Tell somebody that he lifted your burden. Ain't he alright? Yeah! Yeah! I want to say by Christian experience.
Thank you, Jesus.
Congregation baptism. Come for rededication of tongue.
Yeah.
For special prayer.
Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
Whosoever will, I invite you to come. You don't have to struggle alone. God knows all about your struggle. But look to him to help you through your struggle. Yes, sir. Don't you give up. Jacob said, I won't let go till you bless me. God wants some folk who don't mind holding on. You hold on like, Lord, if you don't help me, I won't make it. There can't nobody else do it but you. And so I'm going to hold on to you. Amen. He'll help you. He will. I'm serious. He'll help you through all your struggles. I invite you to come to the Lord.